Good morning, student. I, Rashmi ma'am, your science teacher, is again back with your online classes, or you can say online session for class 7. Subject is the chemistry. We were doing chapter 2, in which we have studied about all the changes, physical changes, and the types of changes. Types of changes in this chapter 2, there was physical change and chemical change. In types of changes, we have studied about changes based on repetition, changes based on time taken, changes based on reversibility, and the changes based on usefulness. After that, we have studied about the physical change. What is physical change? In which no new substance are formed, that is called physical change. And what are the processes like melting of ice and freezing of water, boiling of water, making of a solution, sublimation, all these things we have completed. Now we are moving towards our next topic, second last topic, that is our chemical change. Now what should be the chemical change? Chemical changes in energy are always accompanied by a particular chemical or physical change. Always remember, student, that changes in energy are always accompanied by a particular chemical change or physical change. Many changes happen in a natural environment, such as evaporation of water, condensation, rainfall, etc. The change in state is involved in all these changes. During some reaction, the old bonds in the reactants break and new bonds are created in the product. Now, in chemical change, these changes happen in a natural environment such as evaporation of water, condensation, rainfall, etc. The change in state is involved in all these changes. During some reaction, the old bonds in the reactants break and new bonds are created in the product. So, in chemical change, always the old bonds in reactant break down and the new bonds are created as a product. So, what is chemical change? The change in which the molecular composition is completely altered and a new product is formed is called a chemical change. The change in which the molecular composition is completely altered. The change in which the molecular composition is completely altered and a new product is formed is called a chemical change. Chemical changes create a new product. What does chemical changes do? It creates always a new product. The changes in chemical change are irreversible and permanent. The changes in chemical changes are irreversible and permanent. It reveals that chemical change cannot be reversed by changing or altering the experimental changes. It reveals that chemical change cannot be reversed by changing or altering the experimental changes. The mass of the substance is altered during a chemical change. Either the mass is added or removed. Either the mass is added. So, in chemical changes, molecular composition is completely altered, a new product is formed. Chemical changes create a new product. Chemical changes are reversible and permanent. It reveals that chemical change cannot be reversed by changing or altering the experimental changes. The mass of the substance is altered during a chemical change, either the mass is added or removed. During a chemical change, the energy changes occur. There is an energy difference in the breaking of old bonds in reactants and the formation of new bonds in products. So, the chemical change is called an exothermic reaction if the energy is released, and as an endothermic reaction when the energy is absorbed. In your big book, it also has given some examples of the chemical changes are burning of wood, burning of camphor, souring of milk, burning of candle, digestion of food. All these are chemical changes. So, a substance is said to undergo a chemical change when the chemical properties of a substance alter. As a result, there is either formation or breaking of atomic bonds at the molecular level. Some of the characteristics of chemical changes we have to been given or we can see it. Now, those changes in which new substances are formed. First point, it has been completed. It has also given in your book, that is called chemical change. The properties of new substance formed in chemical changes are entirely different from those of the original substances. During chemical changes, a substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition. Chemical changes are also called chemical reactions. So, the other name of the chemical changes are chemical reactions. Now, in this chemical change, it is permanent change which is can usually not be reversed to form the original substance. A lot of energy in the form of heat, light, sound is either absorbed or given out in chemical change. Thus, the various characteristics of a chemical change are follows. One or more new substances are formed in a chemical change. One or more new substances are formed in a chemical change. Chemical change is a permanent change, or you can say chemical change is permanent in nature. Since the original composition of the substance changes, one or more new substances are formed. Now, a chemical change usually cannot be reversed. Forms of energy such as heat, light, or electricity may be emitted or absorbed. Forms of energy, it means what? In the form of heat, light, or electricity, energy is emitted or absorbed. A chemical change is generally irreversible. At least it cannot be reversed by simple physical means. A chemical change is irreversible. It cannot be reversed by simple physical means. Sound may be produced in a chemical change. A change in smell may take place, or a new smell may be given off in chemical change. In this, smell can be produced or taken or being given out in a chemical change. Now, growth in living being is also a chemical change. A permanent change in color may take place in a chemical change. So, the color which has been given out of after the chemical change, it should be the permanent. A gas may be formed in a chemical change also. So, some of the examples of a chemical change are burning of paper, burning of fuel, rusting of iron, the souring of milk, growth in living being, cooking, digestion of food, burning of wood. So these were the example. In your big book, it has been also given some examples of chemical changes are souring of milk. Souring of milk means what? It should be a very bad condition of milk. Likewise, when we buy the milk from the market, and in this summer season you are seeing that the weather is how much hot. If we kept that milk after boiling, if we kept that milk outside the refrigerator where the temperature it has been given to the milk for to the normal condition, but if we keep that milk after boiling it into a normal temperature of this summer season, in from morning till evening you will find that that milk is not in a liquid form, but it has been in a solid form like a curd. This makes that the milk souring of milk. So this is a chemical change. After souring of milk, or you can say after being made curd, we cannot get back the milk in his previous place. So these are the chemical changes. Burning of paper. If paper has been burned, we can't get back the original sheet of the paper. Growth in living beings. As you were a child, now you are being taken growth. After child, you have been in a teenage, young teenage, now adult, and after adult, then again you became old. So this growth in a living being is also a chemical change. When you have become adult or young, you cannot be changed towards into your childhood size. That's why these are the chemical change. Digestion of food. The food which we have eaten, can we get it back? No, we can't get it back as in original form like chapatis and vegetables, because it has been digested in the food, and that after digestion the minerals, the vitamins and the many other sources which we have to get from that food, that has been absorbed by our body. So that's why we can't get the chapati in its original round shape, or we cannot get the vegetable which were not cooked earlier time. Burning of wood also, it has been a chemical change. As wood has been burned, you cannot get back the previous form of the wood log, because after burning it being in a ash form. Ash form is what? In a solid form, but you can say in a dust form also. And in your book it has been given like rice and chapati, spoilage of food, digestion, neutralization, many drying of leaves, burning of incense sticks, agarbattis which you burn every day in your home at the time of prayer, ripening of fruits, baking soda. These are the some of the permanent chemical changes which cannot be turned back to its previous order, or you can say the previous manner. So milk to the curd, it cannot be changed back into the milk as it has been formed into the curd. So these are the things which cannot be done, and it can be read as a chemical changes.